Othering Podcast explores the world of marginalized communities with a focus on the disabled and LGBTQ+. In our discussions, we will provide a platform for our guests to advocate and share their stories. By delving deep into their difficulties and successes, we will explore the changes necessary to improve lives everywhere. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Othering Podcast with Mike and Dory. Step inside a world where animals walk, talk, and think just like us. This collection of 30 short stories, each starring unforgettable anthropomorphic characters, is written with one simple philosophy. Everyone is welcome at the zoo.
Created for readers of all ages, these stories celebrate diversity, imagination, and the joy of seeing the world through different eyes. From clever foxes to thoughtful elephants, every tale offers humor, heart, and a fresh perspective on what it means to be human, told through the voices of the creatures we love. Whether you're looking for a quick read, a thoughtful escape, educational value, or even a modern set of bedtime stories, Welcome to the Zoo is your ticket to adventure.
Welcome to the Zoo is available now on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and free with Kindle Unlimited.
Welcome to the Zoo by Paul Smith.
PEP Radio, part of the Pennsylvania Equality Project, advocates for the rights of LGBTQ+ people, the disabled, and marginalized communities. We play music from all 7 continents from 1928 through 2025 in English, Spanish, German, African tribal languages, Korean, and Japanese. We also offer news, history lessons, and are proud to include the Othering podcast in our programming lineup. Tune in on the Live 365 app, Roku, and Alexa every Saturday and Sunday at 4 p.m.
All right, today we are talking to Caroline. She is a dancer with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. She found pole dancing in 2018, and with the support of physical therapists and an amazing community of instructors, dancers, and friends, she fell in love with dancing and performing. In 2021, she began a 3-year-long sabbatical from dance for labral reconstruction and hip dysplasia surgeries. Her return to pole after her final hip surgery was complicated by cardiovascular deconditioning, long COVID, and a non-dance-related injury to her wrist. Still, in the past year, she's performed in 2 Pride Circus shows, the Disabled Pole Dancer Showcase, and is now preparing for PoleCon West this fall. Welcome, Caroline. It's great to have you.
That sounds
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Sounds quite interesting, the PoleCon. Can you tell us about that?
So that is a spin-off of the International Pole Convention, which is a really cool event that I actually haven't gotten to go to before, but it's an opportunity for dancers from all over to perform in a variety of showcases, host workshops, and I think sell merch. They're starting one. They used to bounce around all over the country, but are now more situated on the East Coast. So now opening this PoleCon West up as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. You've been dancing your whole life, right? And then just came across pole later in life?
Yeah, kind of on and off. I was more involved in martial arts when I was younger. I started Tang Soo Do when I was 6 and did end up earning my black belt.
That's awesome.
And about midway through that, got into Irish step dancing as well.
How was it, the transition between doing martial arts to dance? Or did you feel like it was similar?
That's such a good question. I think because there was such a gap in my martial arts training, I ended up stopping that when I was around 12 for shoulder surgery, and then not getting into pole dance until much later. I really didn't make the connection until kind of recently.
So the shoulder surgery, I know you added extra on the email with your intro. It sounds like that had a lot to do with Ehlers-Danlos and the pulling it out of socket, basically.
Ow.
Absolutely, yeah.
When were you diagnosed with the Ehlers-Danlos to know that that was the cause of it?
Not until 2021.
Oh,
So
wow.
many years after the shoulder surgery, really were letting me walk around thinking all of these like, random things were unrelated.
So what I guess either made them or you realize this is too much and this is, got to be related.
I ended up having a really bizarre shoulder injury from during pole. I was doing a trick and it my joint just didn't support itself the way I was counting on it to do, and I dislocated my shoulder straight upward
Oh,
Ooh.
and separated my collarbone. I apologize for the
Oh, no, no, no.
rather graphic injury description. But at that point, a doctor had mentioned to me years earlier, maybe you have this, but you don't meet the requirements. It's too rare. Which of course a bunch of people are told, and then something that's not as rare as we think ends up looking really rare when everyone's told, no, that you couldn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the Ehlers-Danlos Society's website and found a physical therapist on there, and I went to him, and I think immediately he said, also, you have this, right?
It's weird that it took your physical therapist to recognize this when I would think that doctors who are supposed to, know the human body as well as they're supposed to know, would have kind of, oh, I don't know, thought this isn't right, this isn't normal, and that they kind of would have discovered, okay, maybe we should look into this because injuries like that don't happen, at least
Oh my
not that
gosh.
often.
Dory, you're absolutely right. That is how it should be. I think that physical therapists are really great at finding these things and kind of knowing how someone's recovery progress actually goes and what patients look like because they just spend so much more time with us.
And
And if something in the treatment isn't working, they're the ones who actually need to deal with it. So I think there's kind of a little more accountability there, and they get more feedback on what you try and what works and what doesn't.
it
yes,
seems
and
like they have a bit more knowledge of like the body in a lot of ways to know how to work it to fix it. I am currently seeing a physical therapist, and he explained the MRI and everything to me much better than the neck doctor actually did because he's so familiar with all the different moving parts in there on how to fix it and how to work me. He was able to explain it better
Right.
than she ever could.
yeah, and but at the same time, and no shade or hate to doctors and such, but that's a part of their schooling too. And you
There's a
know,
little hate.
A little hate.
they're supposed to know how your toes are connected to the rest of your foot. All of those different bones, they're supposed to know how these things work. I mean, nurses know how these things work. You're supposed to know. I don't understand. Are they like forgetting this or what?
Don't know. I think sometimes when things aren't, I don't like looking the exact way they did on that flat page in a textbook,
Yep.
because we're real people, then it's like all of a sudden out of their depth.
Yeah, and I
And
get that.
it's not the way it should be. I'm
Yes,
completely with you.
it's just I find it frustrating that we go through so many different, pain things, diseases, or just in general. And a lot of times, the first thing that they'll do is just say, "Oh, it can't be this, so whatever." And then they're like, "It'll get better. Take two aspirin. You'll be fine." All of that silly, ridiculous stuff. And then
Mhm.
when it doesn't, then they kind of blame us for it not getting better because, of course, it's 100% our fault. It's not possible that it's because
Right.
that they weren't paying attention. And it's just also frustrating because occupational therapists, physical therapists see a lot of patients too. And they're
Yeah.
able to find the time to talk to you. Why can't the other doctors so that they can actually diagnose us correctly? I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like a
There.
novel idea, but
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're so right. And it's so hard not to internalize that as a patient and think like, well, this must be my fault. and I guess everyone else around me has it all figured out, and they must be doing everything right, and I'm doing everything wrong. And yeah, I think it's also, and yeah, it's hard to go through all of the things with that kind of eating away at our confidence.
Yes. I mean, I still guess like myself and, thinking that, oh, this has still got to be in my head. It's not real.
Mm.
And because of so long, going through different doctors and specialists telling you, oh, well, it can't be CRPS, which is what it is. But, it
Right.
can't be that because I wasn't deformed or something silly like that. And it's just, it gets maddening when we end up suffering for so long when you could have said something sooner, could have figured it out sooner. And because you read all the literature for like Ehlers-Danlos and CRPS, and the sooner that you find out, the better the outcome can be. The more it's easier to, control it and help it along and not end up with thousands upon thousands of surgeries. And
Mhm.
then you're just like, that's great, that's wonderful. But I didn't know for 6 years or more because nobody would listen.
Yeah, and having that information, I think like every bit of information that we have helps us make better decisions about how we live our
Hmm.
lives, and helps us, try to do the right things, but like actually doing the right things that are right for us and that we need to do.
Right. And, you could have possibly, if you had had the knowledge, you could have maybe been able to rearrange the trick that you were trying to do. And so that you could still do the trick, but maybe not dislocate it up.
Yeah. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's painfully.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something I learned in that recovery was that my brain wasn't really like communicating with that muscle the way it should have been for me to like actually do that trick correctly. So yeah, you're so right. I did learn that the hard way.
Yeah. And you shouldn't have to hurt and learn things the hard way when if they'd listened in the first place or, just said, this doesn't sound right. Let's look into
Mhm.
this better. And it's not to say that you have to have all of the answers. Nobody can. It's
Mhm.
impossible. But sit with us and talk to us. Listen.
Put in a little bit of effort.
Yeah. A little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Do you,
go ahead,
do
Mike.
you feel like you have medical support today, or is it still kind of
Yes,
lacking?
I do. Well, it's funny. I actually just moved to Portland, Oregon a few days ago.
Oh, wow.
Congrats
Um,
on the move.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm here with my partner and cats, and we're all very excited to be here. So do need to go through the process of finding new care providers, but do feel like since I've had really great physical therapists in the past and occupational therapists, I know more of what to look for. And also, like once like one person helps us understand what's going on with us, it gives us more language to communicate that
Yeah.
Yes.
to other people. And now with I've had enough hip surgeries where I feel like I have the credentials to be taken seriously, which of course no one should need, but it
Right.
does kind of help.
Yeah.
Yes. We shouldn't have to be, a walking encyclopedia of our diseases
Yes.
and
Yeah.
be able to say, okay, well, you see, in 2020, I had this done, and then in 2021, this
Mm-hmm.
happened. And we shouldn't have to do that. That's the whole point of having a record, I thought. Maybe I'm
Hmm.
wrong. It's so
Should
that
be.
we don't have to remember. And, it's supposed to be there for everybody to be able to come up with this is, I've noticed these patterns, and maybe we should talk about this. But it always ends up that we have to look into these things deeply and make sure that everything is there correctly. And like I've heard some horror stories of people being labeled in their charts, drug seeking because they were in
Yeah.
pain. It's like, what? No,
Oh, that's awful.
it is. And I hate that.
So I see your first surgery on your shoulder was a capular shift in your right shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, that just means they reshaped the joint so it would hold itself together better because it was just kind of on its own, not staying in the socket.
Did it help?
Um, absolutely.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely. I actually don't know how common it is for this surgery to be successful. So please no one take this as advice or anything or like an endorsement. But for me it was incredibly successful and really it's now one of the best joys in my body to this day. I'm oh gosh, 32 now. I had to think about that. Um, but it's lasted
So how many
now well over a decade.
how
Oh,
many
that's good.
how many surgeries have you had?
And I was 7
7?
major joint surgeries. Yes.
Okay.
Wow, just a few.
No,
Yeah.
it was just one or two, but I'm glad that that works because it's, I would think, even more frustrating when they have to go back in and, type of thing. Like, for instance, like if you had a pain pump or something like that and it dies and then they have to go back in, it kind of makes things worse, because you got to cut through all of the already there
Yeah.
scar tissue. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I can confirm that it is tough when they have to go back and redo or fix a surgery. I a few years ago started my journey with hip surgeries and had surgery on each hip, and one of them failed very quickly, and they had to go back in and redo that surgery plus another much bigger surgery. And then I went back and got the same thing on the other side
And
shortly
That
after.
and that bigger surgery is where they had to break your pelvis?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yes.
It's breaking the pelvis to reshape the hip joint is the way she worded it. And that sounds absolutely terrible. Is that as bad as it sounds?
It is how it sounds.
Okay.
okay,
When I first discovered this was a thing, I was like kind of went down a rabbit hole, like who came up with this?
Uh-huh.
And was just a little mystified that this is just a thing that people do to each other.
yeah,
And now I've got a guy who I met up with and who did this, and it was like a thing we scheduled and put on the calendar. So the whole thing does feel very bizarre to go through.
I would think so. I mean, it's not often that you think that. Well, I always used to think that you're supposed to go to doctors to heal broken bones and not come to them for breaking it off and, rearranging everything.
Oh,
And so it's kind of I would think, at least for me, a surreal moment realizing, oh my God, they're going to break me in half. And just to fix it. But has it helped? Like the muscles and everything, has it made it a huge
yeah,
difference in better? Yeah, that's good at least. Because that would
yeah.
just the pain though. Ow. And I'm not trying to belittle it or anything. It's just, I hear that and it just I imagine the pain and just the level that, because I've known some people who broke their pelvis from riding horses. And
Oof.
yeah, it was an oof moment, definitely
Yeah.
for them. And so it just, the thought kind of boggles me. I mean, just, ow.
A little lost in my thoughts, inspired by what you said, Dory. It is so funny. Like you were saying, you go to the doctor to feel better. It is funny because you do walk into surgeries like these that are not like emergency surgeries, but they need to happen. They're scheduled like 6 weeks in advance, and you go in being able to walk, and you come out barely being able to walk or being able to walk very little. And you can immediately after you can do a lot less
Hmm.
than you could going in. So that yeah, that is like really funny and hard, like really hard to wrap your head around. And for me, it was really tough, especially for my first one, really hard showing up, and I just didn't want to do it. It was actually the anesthesiologist who talked me into doing it, and you don't meet the anesthesiologist till you're there.
Right. And I would imagine that, and please, stop me if I'm going too far. Just, I would imagine that the thought process of going even into the surgeries is kind of scary.
I would guess it's terrifying.
Mm.
And, like, I didn't have as major of a surgery, and going to it was scary for me.
I think all surgeries are kind of scary. I mean, You're put under anesthesia. You don't know what's going to happen from there, and then you're sliced open, and they're in there with all sorts of instruments. You don't know
If they'll remember to take them out.
and you don't know where they've been. You can only trust that they've cleaned them right. I mean, I think any surgery is terrifying.
True. You are putting a lot of you're putting a lot on them in the hopes that you can come out better. And I apologize if I hurt you or something by saying what I said, but
No,
okay,
don't
good.
even worry about it. No, anything we can laugh at is always the most helpful thing. And
Yes, it is. And
yeah,
I aspire to that. But still, it's just putting your hands, your like on both ends, I would think is scary. But just being the patient, having had that surgery of mine, and I only had like a 2 inch, maybe 2 inch incision, and that was excruciating. And it seems like it shouldn't have been because it was only 2 inches, but they kind of made a pocket, and
That doesn't matter.
they made a pocket
yeah,
in my
twitch.
skin. And
Yeah, that's 2 inches. That's not.
yeah, true. But
Yeah.
I would think that having the surgeries that you have would be painful. And were they also kind of like a feeling of isolation for you at all? Like, were you having any like troubles wrapping your head around all of those surgeries? Because, for instance, the thought of going under again for me and doing the exact
Yeah.
same surgery again to fix my battery is just, I'm paralyzed with fear about it. And like,
Yeah. No, that's such a great question. I think something that helped me is when I went from no hip pain to really bad hip pain to needing the surgery so quickly. I know a lot of people who end up having labral reconstructions or repairs have it progressively getting worse over years and years. For me, it was I just scheduled an appointment with the surgeon, and he said, "Yeah, this needs to happen." But that even doing it the first time was a really hard choice, and I think something that helped do the second surgery on the other side was knowing how quickly it can get bad and how bad it could get, and knowing that if I did it sooner, it would not get as hopefully not get to that point. And then when that surgery ended up failing really quickly, I by the time I knew I was going to have more surgeries, I was really relieved because I just having kept having complication after complication. So by the time I met with the surgeon, I just thought like, oh good, there's something that can be done. And then
yes.
I ended up going back and asking for those same two surgeries again on the other side, and that was also just knowing, okay, it's headed down the same road. I know how bad this can get, and I know that if I do it sooner, I will hopefully avoid getting to that point again.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, the pain just kind of, it gets you so much, and it's like frustrating and scary and, kind of heartbreaking sometimes because, you go, at least for me, I went from playing soccer with my kids, oh, kitty, in the yard. And then I couldn't do it anymore. And it was just, the pain was just constantly kind of going all over the place for me. And for me specifically, I kind of spiraled because, going from able-bodied to suddenly my body's just not cooperating, bothered me a lot. And I just felt defective. I know it's a horrible way to put it, but that's kind of how I felt. And I don't want other people to ever feel that way because, sometimes our bodies just crap out on us.
They just don't
Yeah.
like us.
Yeah. And
Yeah, and I think you can put it any way you want. I think we get to choose the language we use to describe our own bodies and what we're going through.
yeah,
And
that is true.
it's so frustrating.
It's just you do so much thinking, well, if I just, exercise and keep going and do all of these things right, then my body's going to agree with me and it'll be nice and, whatever you're thinking it's supposed to do. And then when it turns up and says, I'm going to fall apart, especially when it's kind of out of the blue and you don't know that
Hmm.
you've got this disease running in your body, and then it's like, "Hey, I'm here. Let's have a
Exactly.
party." And you're just like, "Wait a minute. Who the hell are you?" kind of thing. And it changes so many thought processes. Like, do you have moments where you've got something you want to say, and then all of a sudden brain fog pops in, and you're just like, wait a minute, what was I saying? What was I going to say? And all of those
Mhm.
things happen, and they don't tell you these things. And that's also kind of what's frustrating about this is that they just kind of leave you to it. They say, oh, here's your diagnosis. And then they don't explain anything with you.
Yeah.
So then you have to go through all of these, different new things. Like, for instance, I recently started tremoring where, like, I'll just
Mhm.
start jerking really bad. And then I went to the doctor and they're like, oh, yeah, that can happen. It's like, thanks for telling me in the first place. Why do I have to research all of this?
Yeah, it's so interesting, and it feels like with side effects of new medications, what like I feel like you always have to figure it out on your own that like, oh, this thing is a side effect of this medication, and I wonder if it's because yeah, it feels so backwards to me because sometimes I wonder if it's because like, oh, if like we don't want to scare them, but it's actually really helpful to know that like, oh, this thing might happen, and if this happens, then I'll do this, or if like, oh, look out for example, like seizures with the medication, and if that happens, you let us know and stop taking it.
Because,
I get really bad side effects from medicines all the time.
like,
So
every single side
I
effect he
completely
gets.
agree with you.
And I think they should, let us know these things that can potentially happen with our diseases and with the medicine, so that it's not quite so much of a shock to the system. Because I think that
Yeah.
when we have chronic illnesses and chronic diseases like Ehlers-Danlos, and in my case CRPS, you
Mhm.
get used to certain things, and then when a new symptom pops up from it, and you're sometimes it scares you because you think, oh no, something else is going on, but they don't tell you, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
these things happen. Like, have
Oh,
you?
exactly. Yeah, and I know I had a lot of trouble with post-COVID syndrome and a lot of symptoms with that. And the first time I had like really bad heart palpitations, I went to the emergency room and they did all the things and said I was fine. And oh, but it was still like a trip to the ER, which is just never fun. I
No.
get really claustrophobic, which also made the surgeries tough, specifically in medium-sized spaces. But now if I'm like feeling the same kind of symptoms, I'm like, oh, I need more salt like I need to eat more salt today. And it's like these things become like not as big a deal if we hopefully and very often can become like less of a big deal once we understand what's going on and say, oh, okay, this is what's happening. I need to do this.
Yeah,
But the first time is always very scary.
it is because at least in my situation, I don't want to talk for other people, but
Mhm.
in my situation, they just said, this is what you have. And basically, it's like,
Yeah.
and then they walked out and like, see you next time. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay.
So you said your first shoulder surgery, you were
Mhm.
12?
Yeah, yeah, around 12 or 13.
That seems kind of traumatizing for someone that little. Did that stop you from doing stuff? Were you scared to continue to do activities?
Yeah, I really was. I didn't end up going back to martial arts after that surgery. I'd already really slowed down with dancing, which wasn't shoulder intensive, but I just didn't feel like I could get back up to the level I was at before. But there were other activities that like friends really wanted me to try. I went to school in Colorado, so everyone wanted me to go skiing with them, but I was like, oh my gosh, I just see like so many potential injuries in that. That seems very scary, and I just don't want to deal with another surgery.
No, I can see that. I mean, did you have a lot of like injuries prior to that surgery, or was it just kind of surprise? Here I am.
It was just so surprising. It was kind of kind of just out of the blue. It felt like after a pretty normal like class at the karate studio. And then it took a really long time for them to figure out what was going on. And what actually needed to be done. And at first they were saying, oh, well, your range of motion is bad because you need to stretch more. So at first I was in physical therapy to stretch
Of course.
my joint more. But actually, the issue was I couldn't move it past a certain point without dislocating it. And that was what was limiting my range of motion. So stretching was very much the opposite
Hmm.
of what we wanted to do.
Yeah,
So it was just such a long process.
it is. And I would have thought that, especially around, nowadays, if you dislocate, I would think that they would want to look into why. Like, especially if it's kind of out of the blue. Again,
And frequent.
yeah, and it just, if it's frequent, look into it. And if it's out of the blue, look into it. It's not that hard, doctors. Because I hurt because, imagining you having an injury and nobody knows why and what's going on, and then they go in and they fix it, but they don't really explain much past that. And as a kid, it would scare me into not wanting to do much of anything because I would be like, well, what else is going to pop up? And, and I kind of was like that too, because after a while though, I kind of, went stupid and decided to go and do roller skating and rollerblading and all of these things because, kid dumb one out. But I sprained like everything all the time and nobody ever thought to, look into it. Most people don't sprain their knees and ankles and wrists and elbows constantly. At least I wouldn't have thought so. Maybe I'm wrong. And so, in being a kid and imagining at how frustrated I was then, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would imagine that it would be frustrating for you as well.
Oh, it was so frustrating. And I was probably such a bratty child at these appointments. I'm sure I say bratty child. I know I still am as an adult, where I will be openly frustrated and like try my best to communicate well. But it can be really tough finding someone that you connect with and you feel like is listening.
Yes. Do you ever have anxiety going to the appointments, or are
So
you?
much, so much. Yeah. So something that really helps me is just feeling like as prepared as I can be and knowing about the provider I'm seeing and also feeling like I need to know all of the correct language and terminology to describe in like the right technical terms what's going on or they won't take me seriously.
But I don't think that's fair. I
No.
mean, that's not your job. You shouldn't have to be a medical doctor on top of being a dancer. I mean, if you want to, please do it. That's awesome. But
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to do that in order to get people to listen to you so that you can live your life how you would like to. And, most people would like to be pain free and, be able to succeed not only in what they choose, but, even extracurricular activities and not be stuck with people who are just like, well, it's all in your head or, oh, just exercise more. Or have you tried yoga? Like the big one. Oh, that pisses me off.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, I do find the best doctors and the ones that I work really well with are the ones where I don't need to over explain myself to feel understood. And I think that was something that really made pole dancing so appealing to me yeah, it felt like the instructors were really listening to me as a student because so many people come to find pole at different points in their lives with a different movement experience or like things that their body's been through. Like many people come to pole after having given birth, and that's something that you need to be aware of and sensitive to as an instructor. So it felt like I could say, like, oh, I'm nervous about this for my shoulder because of this. And they would say, okay, I'll help you out with that.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. And I like that you brought that up because I want to ask you, how in the hell are you able to dance with such high ass heels? Because that is just awesome beyond belief. And I can tell you this much now that I would put them on and could still be sitting on the couch and fall on my face while sitting on the couch because that is how klutzy I am. But it is just so amazing the heels that you wear and you're able to dance in those. And and I watched some of your dances and they're really good.
Agreed.
Oh, thank you so much. And I really love that you brought up the heels and want to really highlight that pole. Like the reason that anyone, including myself, can pole dance as a hobby is thanks to strippers who have pioneered pole starting in the strip clubs and for anyone who does it. And putting on the heels like really is just such a privilege to like to be able to participate
They
in
are
that activity.
they are amazing, and it's I know it's hard ass work.
Mm.
No pun intended, but it's just so beautiful, and it can be sexy and can be just what's it, like feeling just so many emotions that kind of go into that. And it's not just for, the sake of sex. It's sexual. And so showing it how beautiful the woman's body, or even some men who do it, their bodies are just how beautiful it is to see them move. And, their movements just like in any other dance. Just because there's a pole there does not mean it has to 100% be sex.
Yeah, and also thank you so much for your very kind words
You're welcome.
about my movement. Yeah, learning how to walk in heels was definitely I think something that prepared me for relearning to walk after hip surgeries. 'Cause it was just a time as an adult where I'd put thought into walking and how I walk. It was definitely like anything, it's like a thing you can practice. I actually have not gone back to dancing in heels since the hip surgeries. That was something kind of took off of my list of goals for a bit. But I very recently, like maybe yesterday, decided I want to go back to dancing in heels again because I miss it. Yeah, it is a lot of like you're adding weight and length to the end of your leg, so it is more like stresses on the hip joint. But yeah, the effect on the way you move and the things that they do enable you to do are really cool
It is.
and
So
worth it.
it seems like to me that
Mhm.
the pole requires a lot of strength in in your limbs, like to hold yourself up by your thighs, basically, or whatever. Do you experience a lot of pain from this because of your past surgeries and your Ehlers-Danlos?
Oh, that is so interesting. I think I want to say overall no, because I'm very careful about how I
That's good.
approach things and really think through the effect that everything I do will have on every joint in my body. So if I'm before I like do a spin where I you want to make sure you're never like hanging out of your shoulder socket and engaging the correct muscles to make sure your joints are supported. But I'll kind of like act out what I'm gonna do before I even attempt it to have a better idea of like what kind of forces would be on these joints and thing and make sure I ask any questions. I'm never shy about asking questions.
Yeah, I never thought about that stuff. I mean, just watching
Mhm,
pole in general, I just think you just grab the pole and you do what you got to do. But yeah, I mean,
mhm.
when you mention it, there's a lot of concern for injury and stuff.
Well, yeah, I would think so. I mean, in any dance routine, you always have to make sure that you're thinking about how you move. And then when we're lucky people and we have these extra issues on our bodies, it, I think, makes, like you said, makes us kind of think harder about our movements.
Yes.
And then I think that actually kind of makes it more beautiful because you have to put more thought in it. It's not just
Mhm.
it is second nature, but it's kind of like a thoughtful second nature. Whereas I think that when your body is 100% fine and you don't have any of those pain issues or anything, it's not to say that they don't put effort in, they do, but I think the level of effort changes versus when you have to be careful. And so your deliberate movements come out more elegant and more infused with the
Mhm.
feelings because of your thoughts are more attuned into what you're doing and how you're doing it. Kind of like, if you ride a horse or you shoot a gun, you
Mhm.
can't focus on anything but that. And
Yeah.
so I think that's the same way with dance, is that you get into this thing of making sure that your body is moving correctly And then on top of that, you're also making sure it moves correctly so that you don't injure yourself. And it's just, I think it's just really beautiful seeing all of that come together in such an amazing way. And just, I thank you for sharing that and, you know, allowing us to see those things, because it's truly exquisite to see. And again, those damn heels just amaze me. Because it's just, they're so high. I can't get over it, how high they are. But you make it look so effortless, as if you're just walking on air clouds.
Oh, thank you so much. And Dory, you absolutely nailed it. It really is like the extra thoughtfulness that goes into every move really, I think, helps me both on and off the pole, because I'm always thinking like, and there's this like a little extra pressure. Like I have this thing in my life that I want to be able to do. If I'm not paying attention and mess something up doing something I don't care about, then they're higher stakes. It's funny, they're actually, when you open a box of 9 or 10 inch heels, they come with a warning about like these aren't meant for walking in. So so they're, yeah, so it's definitely tough, but a couple things that help are that holding onto the pole is really helpful for balance. And we also use the heels a lot on the floor and for floor work, and they're really fun and beautiful
They
in ways
are.
where you don't need to balance. So there are definitely times where you, I know I like held a friend's hand while they walked onto stage because they were wearing 10 inch heels, and just to make sure they got to the pole safely. And that was actually something that made pole really accessible for me when okay, my balance is still not great after the hip surgeries. It's just something that's taken a while to come back. And then also with POTS, which can cause like dizziness when you stand up too fast. It really helps to have something to hold on to that's like right there and not moving. And then also if you feel dizzy, you can go down to the floor and now you're doing floor work and no one even has to know
And
that
that's,
you were just dizzy and need to lie down.
I like that too, because a lot of other dance forms, you have, like, for instance, if you just did ballet, it's really hard
Hmm.
to disguise when you need to be on the floor.
Yeah.
It,
Oh yeah.
and, you know, it looks like you'd go from ballet to modern dance. And no offense to modern dance lovers, but I hate modern dance. But it's not as easily, you know, disguisable. Same with tap and jazz and all of those other things. It's hard to disguise you needing that extra moment.
Going on the floor and tap would kind of ruin the whole purpose
Well,
of
yeah,
tap.
exactly.
Considering you kind of need your feet.
Yes, that, I mean, it's 100% feet, and it would look weird if all of a sudden you're just kind of laying on the floor tapping. And I'm sure there's some way to adapt these things, but right now they don't. And I do think that needs to change, because there's so many bodies out there that would love to dance, and we can't all stand on, you know, our tippy toes and things like that constantly. But being able to have the pole there, just, I think it is so incredible. And I honestly could not even come up with enough words to say it how amazing I think it is, because for so long, you know, a lot of people automatically assume that just because you do pole work, oh, that means you're a stripper. And, you know, pole means strip, all that crap. And it doesn't.
Did you get a lot of that?
Well, yeah, and I always take that as a compliment because I think strippers are strong and they've
They are.
pioneered the pole industry and they're amazing performers who are doing a job.
They're doing
So
an amazing job.
yeah,
And
I
I
always
mean,
take it as a compliment.
fuck, they're hot as hell too sometimes. I mean, well,
Oh,
most of the time.
absolutely.
And their bodies, Jesus, it's just like exquisite a lot of times looking at them. But there's nothing wrong with being a stripper. Absolutely nothing wrong. But I just don't want everybody, you know, I just think it's wrong to assume that just because there's a pole there, that has to mean you're a stripper. And because that's not right. I think it takes away from strippers, and it takes away from dancers. It, you know, just because it's like they want to automatically just go to trying to find a way to demean what you do. And pole work is fucking hard. I mean, the core strength you have to hold your body up there is I think beyond what most athletes even have. And to be able to do the upside down stuff, the air
Mhm.
walking, and just holy shit, it's amazing. And like the artistry in it, you can't really beat that artistry. And I don't want people to
Mhm.
demean it by saying, "Oh, it's just stripper work." It's not. It's a beautiful means of showing sexuality and, showing it how our bodies are able to move, can move.
Yeah, and it's really amazing the way you can, because you're right, there's so many things that take a lot of core strength, and it's really amazing how you can just show up at your first pole class. If anyone's interested in trying this out and thinks like, oh, I don't have this, that, or the other thing to attempt it, that's also what I thought. That's also what everyone thinks. And these are all skills that you learn if you show up and because you can build the core strength to
Oh,
do it just by doing pole, and then you can do conditioning outside of pole. It really helps, but you really can show up in the body you have and yeah, like play with what works for you and explore that and figure out like how to express yourself with what
and
you have.
I think that would also like just your self esteem would just skyrocket because I think what a lot of people are intimidated by the pole dancing is like they think they have to come in already with these super tight bodies or whatever, and if you don't have that, then need not apply to ever type of going. Or, but that's not how you learn anything.
Hmm.
Nobody has the 100% perfect body going into anything, really. That's what training's for. That's what the classes are for. So that you learn how to move your body in the ways so that you can get to those elite levels. And knowing that no matter how you look, touching that pole, I would think would just make you feel so fucking good because
Yeah.
you learn how sensual your body is and how beautiful your body is no matter what, because you get to move in ways that maybe are restricted in other types of dances or just you never thought you could do. And I think that's kind of a nice thing and an important thing, especially for those of us with diseases and chronic
Mhm.
illnesses and such, because there's so much out there saying, well, we're not worthy, we should be killed instantly or whatever crap they're trying to push. And number one, fuck off. Just immediately fuck off.
Amen.
And two, we are incredibly sexy, lovable, beautiful human beings. And just because you're in a wheelchair or you can bend like the human pretzel, that's awesome. However, you need to show up, that's awesome. That's perfect. And that's you. And we should celebrate that and not hide that away. And I also, which is also another reason why I thank you for doing what you do, because you show that you can still find even adaptable things to do that
Mhm.
keep you moving and keep you able to move at your body, because I think all dance is beautiful and sexual and
Mhm.
everything, and so much emotion can be not said just with a movement,
Mhm.
and being able to do that when disabled is amazing. It's amazing even when you're not disabled, but I think it's really
Mhm.
beautiful when you are, because you're showing the world that I'm just as fucking sexy and beautiful,
Mhm.
and you know, hey, look what I can do. That
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I think as disabled performers, we and disabled individuals, we just have such a like a rich and colorful experience that we live, and being able to express that in any medium is just really, it's really beautiful, and it's what makes performances interesting and unique. You never go to a show and think, oh, it was really amazing how everyone did the exact same thing and looked the exact same and moved the exact same as each other.
mm-hmm.
I guess unless it's the Rockettes, but where they wear the heels to make them the same height. But for the most part, yeah, variety is what you want to see, and we just have so much to bring, and I think it's what we deserve, and like moving our bodies and the ways that feel good to us. And it really helps me understand like where I'm at and how my body's doing based on how things feel at the pole studio.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about confidence with what Dory
Mhm.
was saying and stuff. When you started pole, did you have any issues with performing, getting on a stage, anything like that? Or were you comfortable with that?
Getting on stage was definitely tougher, but definitely like day to day when I first went to pole, I think I found a lot of my self-worth was like very tied to like what my body looked like. But pole helped shift that to more about like what I can do. And definitely with like a dynamic disability, that also can be tough because it's like, oh, I can't do as much as I used to be able to do. So I think there's a lot of like confidence in knowing where you're at and knowing that like, okay, like however I'm feeling, I know that I can bring it and I can express myself. But definitely getting on stage for the first time after hip surgeries was definitely the hardest. I was doing a dance routine not on the pole and using a walker, and which I hadn't performed ever using a walker. I'd also
Hmm.
never done a dance performance by myself without a pole there, and the pole can definitely feel like a safety net. It's like your partner that you can hold on to and like the home base. So that was very nerve-wracking for so many reasons, but definitely being on stage, it felt kind of, I'm not sure I know how to explain this, but it was really cool. Like anyone who uses a mobility aid knows what it's like to be stared at, or people like trying not to stare, but kind of like making it weirder than if they
Yes.
were just gonna stare. But it's like, oh, everyone's staring at me because they're supposed to, because I'm on stage and no one needs to like feel shy about staring. So that was very empowering. And now I just love it. Now it's like, oh, everyone's here to see me, and now I get to do whatever I want for the next 3 minutes, and
I,
they're just here. So,
I have a problem being in front of people because I don't think of it that way, and I think of what are they thinking about me? What are they thinking?
mm,
Yeah, but I think when you go up there, at least when I've performed, not as dancer,
mm,
but singing when I was younger, but I think you just kind of ignore it. You don't
If
see
you're
them.
doing what you love, yeah.
Yeah, you're
mm,
you're so immense, enmeshed into what you're doing that
mm,
you don't notice all of those things. And like you said, even if they are staring at you, you know it's because this is something you want to do. You're controlling the
yeah.
narrative. You're holding their, eyes captive because you're doing what you love. And it just so happens that you might have a walker or a
Mhm,
pole or, something there. But that's okay because that makes it even more beautiful, more
mhm,
wonderful
Hmm.
because now you also get in your case, I think what also made it even more beautiful was you were showing at how incredible that those aids can be, that they don't have to completely stop you
Hmm.
just because you use
mhm,
them. And it's not to say that people aren't, fighting back against that, but so many people, especially when they're new to disability, just
mhm.
automatically assume, oh, well, I need to hide myself away.
Hmm. They're
And
ashamed of it.
yeah, and it's not because they want to be ashamed of it, it's because everybody else makes them ashamed of it. And seeing, like for me, seeing you dance just made me feel more, comfortable and things for me. And I saw the beauty in it. And it just made me realize that, my body still works. My body is still here. Well, it works as best as possible, but
Yeah.
but why should we ever hide away? Who says that we're supposed to be, hidden in a home? And,
Mm.
fuck anybody who says that. We should. Because like I said before, we're just as worthy of all of it. We are 100% worthy. And we are 100% deserving of everything that everybody else gets. And just the beauty that you help bring just is amazing, I think. And
Oh my gosh.
I'm not trying to make you cry because you're going to make me cry.
Oh, Dory, that just means the world to me. Thank you so much. I would love to know. I'm kind of dying to know. Would you ever like to try pole or?
Yeah.
Any other kind of dance or movement?
Yes. I used to do ballet when I was little, and I loved doing it, but my feet would get in the way because my feet would always hurt so badly that I ended up getting pulled out of it because I couldn't handle my feet hurting. But I would love to go back to dance. I miss it. It was thrilling and it was fun, and being able to hang with all those other kids was thrilling to me too. And you just that sharing of love of dance or whatever, sport type of thing you're doing, it helps immensely too, because sometimes life gets in the way, and when you don't have anything to share with somebody, it kind of makes you retreat even more. And we don't need to do that. Whether or not you have a disability or you think you don't have a disability or whatever it is, if you have mental illness, all of that, isolating doesn't help. And, finding people who love the same things as you do helps so much. So, yes, I would love to, be able to find a way to do pole dancing. Even though my legs cause, great issues, there's got to be some way I could do it.
Just
Oh my
just
gosh,
hang there.
absolutely.
Use
And
your
that
arms.
was, oh God. Yeah, that was actually something before my hip surgeries. With the problem I was having in my hip, doing pole was like actually when things were the least painful because I was creating more space in that joint so things weren't like rubbing together in the way that they weren't supposed to. So yeah, and there's really so much freedom for what you can do and what doesn't, like if something doesn't work for you, you can just be like, well, that's not part of my style of movement, and take the things that work and like really embrace those and play with those.
Yeah, I like that
And then
idea.
for the things that don't work, then I love to watch people, like other people do the things I don't do because that's really cool.
Yeah, I love seeing dancers and singers and such. It doesn't take away what I can do. And I think
Absolutely.
it just enhances what you can or, you can do. And I would, but yeah, I would love to try and find a pole dancing class here because I think that would be so much fun. I don't know if I could ever get to the 20-inch heels, but I could definitely do the other stuff because I really don't want to face plant again. I've done that many times trying to learn how to walk in like kitten heels half the time, but I am like the biggest klutz, seriously. But I think that would be fun as fucking hell.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we will connect after this and find a studio near you because I am very committed to getting you on a pole. And if yeah, and with heels, and I think with anything, like for me, like just doing what I feel comfortable with, even if I'm just doing like the same baby step over and over and over again, after doing that for long enough, one day your brain will say like, okay, we've got this. Like, no, I think I can let go of what I'm holding on to support me in this. And also if it doesn't, then the baby steps are still steps.
And
We,
it's just, you got to try something new too.
Yeah,
Even if it turns out to be something you don't end up liking, which I don't foresee, but still, it's you got to try
totally.
something new, and that's always thrilling.
we're out of time.
Boo.
It always comes too quick.
Yes, it does.
Thank you so much for
Yes, thank
joining
you.
us today.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you both so much for this platform. Your other episodes have been so much fun
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
to
you.
listen to, and I just really appreciate getting to chat with you both and talk about something I love.
Anytime. We love talking to everybody about things they loved because I think it humanizes us even more in everyone else's eyes. And that's important to show that we're, again, just as worthy as everyone else.
Mhm.
Did you want to let
Absolutely.
people know like where to find you or anything like that for stuff you do or Instagram or anything?
Yes, please. I am at underscore top quark. That's TOPQUARK on Instagram. And I would love to connect with people there and share movement with each other or whatever it is you're up to.
Yeah, that
All
would be
right.
awesome.
Yeah. And I'll put your link in the description,
And
your screen
everybody
name.
needs to go and see her dance because she's really good and just awesome. And you truly do make it look effortless. Like it's just you were born to do it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all of your kind words. I am so excited to connect and
Yes.
get you on a poll.
And
So that'll be so much fun.
and I truly mean everything I said, that I I am not that type of person that likes to, like, say these silly platitudes in hopes of, sounding good. But I truly mean everything I say. And I really, really believe in your dance, and I believe in your movement and just the beauty in it and everything. So I truly thank you for that.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will keep dancing and thank you for everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Much for listening. Please leave a rating for us wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Othering Podcast is brought to you by Loudcore Productions in conjunction with your support. Your host, Mike and Dory Morris, graphics by Joshua Morris, and join us next week on the Othering Podcast.